The first thing is, as you say, it took a long time. Firstly, people were smeared, they were derided, and it took some time and a significant amount of work by families and a few brave people to actually make the case when a lot of people were censored and shut down for saying anything about the vaccination. And as it happens, people can say, well, there's always some small side effects with all vaccinations. The number with the ones we're discussing for this are far higher proportionally. Many have been addressed far sooner with other vaccinations. And we know recently that Pfizer accused of bringing disrepute to the industry, and that AstraZeneca has been associated its COVID jab with some serious side effects. The numbers have gone up. They've rocketed up now in terms of...
So can I quote them to you? I've got them
Yes.
all here, just so as people can get a grip on just how shocking these statistics are. Now, in 2019, there were 27 claims against for compensation for the COVID jab. In 2020, the following year, it went down to 26. 2022, there were 480. Last year, 4,008. And check this out, so far this year, up until April, so it's only 4 months, isn't it? 5 months, I guess, if you want to be generous. 11,022 claims are being made to this scheme. What is going on here? Is this people are sort of getting the guts to have a go for compensation, or are they suddenly starting to feel the illness caused by the jabs? Or...
Well, I think there's all sorts of things going on. I think partly it's a processing, it's a time thing. I think there's a number of things that have been going on. There's a number of impacts in a range of areas. It's the case that before there was a recognition, there was something like 4 people working in a previous department. That went up to 80 people. Now, Victoria Atkins quite rightly saying it's got to be reviewed further because the amount of increases, we've seen things, you have to have a certain criteria, a certain benchmark of disability, which some people are arguing is not justified the way it's assessed as well. But in the amount of how disabled you are or impacted as a consequence of the vaccination, and that's got to be demonstrable. I think the thing is, Kevin, with all of this, if we remember what was told to everyone was that we know that this was something originally that was going to be very dangerous for highly vulnerable people and very old people, the COVID situation.
Yeah.
And what happened was there was a mass campaign of nudge and fear and threats and mandates and impositions to terrify everybody. There was 60-year-olds, 50-year-olds, 40 or 30-year-olds and children to have a procedure that majority of them did not need. And in that context, it's even more scandalous that this has happened because, it's the case that was recognised and understood at the time. And as we've seen in some of the lockdown files and other discussions, and some people were making the case from the very get-go as it happens, that there was a recognition both about it not ability to stop transmission, and nevertheless, all these measures were imposed and people were spied on by the government, the DCMS, the Counter Disinformation Unit, journalists, doctors, citizens. And some of the people now very silent, those that were screaming out abuse, saying it's conspiracists. They do shout conspiracists on other issues now if you're not happy about what's happening on our streets.
That's right, yeah.
But we need to make sure, Kevin, this is the key thing. We need to make sure that there's a proper, open, transparent, robust assessment of this, because some of the impacts mean that it's having an impact in a range of medicine and lack of trust for science more broadly, right? Really debilitating for other measures and interventions for things for children and elsewhere. Parents are now not trusting what's being said to them. These things are serious, right? We as a society need to be able to trust. You can't have informed consent and choice if you don't know what's going on, if you're being spun things, if things are just, experimentally done, told us it's all safe and effective and that's all great. And then you find out and discover it's not the case. And then people knew about that as well. This is a problem for trust and it needs to be addressed openly. And it's a serious concern that we haven't really addressed properly.